Hello and welcome to the Daily Forex Report for June 27th. We are looking at the U.S.-Japanese yen pair. This pair closed higher during this last session, did not break the previous session's low. We are looking for it overall to be moving sideways, potentially going as high as 80.21, possibly as low as 79.00. Look for some resistance around 80.00 and look for some support around 79.20. Now, the Euro-USD pair, this pair closed down during this last session, was an inside bar. We are looking for it to potentially go as high as 125.55, possibly as low as 123.82. Look for some resistance around 125.15 and look for some support around 124.31. Now, the pound-US dollar pair, this pair closed to the downside, moving sideways. We are looking for it to potentially go as high as 156.90, possibly as low as 154.61. Look for some resistance around 156.52 and look for some support around 155.35. Now, the US Swiss, this pair closed up for the third day in a row, did not break the previous session's high though. We are looking for it to potentially go as high as 0.9693, possibly down to 0.9564. Look for some resistance around 0.9650 and look for some support around 0.9583. All right, now as far as news announcements go, okay, we're looking at the Euro-German unemployment change for June being released at 3:55 a.m. Eastern. Consensus on that is that it has moved from 0K up to 3K. Now, the pound has their gross domestic product for the first quarter being released at 4:30 a.m. Eastern. Consensus on that one is that it has held at a negative 0.3%. Then we have the gross domestic product for the first year being released. That particular one it's showing a hold as well at negative 0.1%. Then at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, we have the gross domestic product annualized for the U.S. being released at 1.9%. Then we have at 8:30 as well, U.S. gross domestic product index being released. They're showing that it should come out around the 1.7 mark. And then the core personal consumption expenditure for the U.S. being released at 8:30 is showing a hold at 2.1%. Okay, now as far as what I'm looking at during this next session, the U.S. Swiss didn't make that drop that I thought it would. It did break the trend line, but it didn't quite go through it. So with that in mind, if we drop down to the lower time frames, we've had 3 sessions in a row where the U.S. Swiss has closed higher, 3 in a row. We have the potential for to see this pair come down. Now I'm looking for it to break this trend line on the 15-minute time frame. If it does that, then at that point you can see using 1, 2, 3, 4 sessions, or the past 4 sessions lows, it's been hit multiple times, as you can see, right here, and right here, and now looking for it to reverse and come to the downside and move lower. So not sure when it will happen, if it will happen during this next session or not, but that is what I'm looking for. Looking to grab a few pips if it were to break right now, about 15, quick little scalp. But as this market moves forward into this new session, that pip amount, as you can see right now, it's at 15, but here it just continues to get larger and larger. So at that point, depending on when it does break, I'll look to grab those pips and probably use a 1-to-1 risk to reward to grab those. Let's take a look at one other pair, the pound-US dollar pair. This pair dove to the downside during this last session. Matter of fact, there's a nice little trend line that developed here, and you can see once it broke it, it dropped like a rock. So that is very interesting. If you zoom out a good ways, you can see kind of the development of things over a longer period of time. That's on the hour time frame. If you take that low and place it against the most current low, you can see a little bit more. Zoom in a little bit. And just dropping trend lines on the lower time frames to get an idea of what potentially could happen. We have an area where we're either going to break to the downside or break to the upside on this one. It is consolidating down long term. Now that's not short term, obviously. And the Euro USD pair. This pair has closed lower for several sessions in a row. If we go back to the day time frame, let's take a look at what's actually happened here. We have 3 days in a row here that have closed down, so the chance of a reversal to the upside is pretty great. So if you drop down here again, drop down to the lower time frames and take a look at kind of what does that actually look like. Are there any trend lines? If so, is it, what do they look like? You can see that you have 1, 2, and then a bunch here. So we could get a move to the upside. They could break through that trend line, and at that point, look for it to head up for this next session. And of course, you have built in, due to these points, built-in areas of resistance to look for the market to go to. And you can just go to break even, then lock in some profit, and then lock in some more profit. Well, I hope that helps, and until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.